La Union looks like a disaster set from a movie. It looks like an earthquake happened here, but in fact, this is all due to flood water. You can see what was once a road now completely broken apart. You can see a lot of mud, a truck being swallowed up here by the mud, debris from the roadway. Look at that, a street sign. And here's the biggest problem of it all. A lot of utility lines being exposed, including water and gas. We do have the potential for rain in the forecast. Still going to be a warm day. Well, there we go. Going to still be in the 70s for your Saturday, and the rain should actually make this a lot more fun.
I admit it, I did sort of laugh at Josh's header slash face plant, but I got to give him props. You're doing a great job out there, Josh.
We're going to provide another opportunity for a chuckle here as Stuart and I slide down. And Stuart, tell us once again the who, what, when, where, why of this event, and why do folks want to come out and do it?
Absolutely. So tomorrow, from 9 until 3 o'clock, go to insaneinflatable5k.com.
There are a lot of ice while Brad tracks the snow. Also talking about road closures. Nothing has changed. I've been on the phone with TxDOT all morning long. Trans Mountain remains closed for the first Chihuahuas game. The earlier you get here, the closer you can be to the stadium. And one of the closest parking garages is right here. We are inside the El Paso Convention Center. Here's the deal. The El Paso Convention Center parking lot will charge you $7 before 6 o'clock. So during our newscast, if you're watching, you'll want to get down here now, because after 6 o'clock, when our newscast ends, it goes up to $10. So again, the earlier you get to these parking garages, the less expensive it will be. And we have a map of all of the parking garages that are near the stadium, as well as parking lots and metered parking. Just head on over to kfoxtv.com and click on this story, where to find the best parking in downtown. Hey there, Hama. Yeah, well, the clouds have actually just rolled in right now. Temperatures, though, still here, according to our KFOX portable temperature meter here, hitting the mid-90s. And that's without, of course, the helmet or restrictive pads, so you can imagine how hot it is for these guys out here at Del Valle High School playing football over the last couple of hours here. This is the central command post for emergency crews. They've had a chance to rest here in between their shifts. I've also had a chance to talk to a number of evacuees who are staying in hotels, in shelters, as well as with relatives. They're warning folks that the ground here in the desert may not be able to absorb a lot of water all at once, and that could cause flash flooding as well as erosion. I'm going to show you a quick example here. I've got a bottle of water. I'm going to pour it on the dry desert ground behind me. Check this out. You can see, yeah, it kind of absorbs a little bit, but all that runoff is what they're talking about, the ground not absorbing it very well, and the erosion. Drivers definitely taking it easy behind me here. Take a live look at the highest point as far as roads are concerned here in El Paso at the Spaghetti Bowl, the US 54 Paisano exit from I-10 East. And you can see drivers really starting to back up right now. Not too bad, but I want to show you video from earlier this morning. It's just one example of cars struggling during the morning commute. You can see traffic came to a crawl around 9:45 this morning. Our KFOX 14 chief photographer arrived around 10 o'clock to capture this video. He says cars were struggling to get onto this ramp. Scanner traffic, our KFOX 14 assignments manager heard, said some 20 cars were stuck on the road, slipping and sliding everywhere. You could see TxDOT crews directing traffic all around the Spaghetti Bowl as well because of slick conditions. Our photographer says it was around 35 to 45 minutes later that TxDOT crews made it out to de-ice the ramp. Then we're told all lanes were open around 11 o'clock. They only restricted it down to one lane. You saw there. One TxDOT manager tells me the backup caused by an accident. That accident likely caused by a driver going too fast on slick roads that maybe froze in between treatments. Lots of sunshine, blue skies, and a few wispy clouds on this cool February day in Clint. And, as usual, no rain. You can tell by the cracks in the ground, the soil is dry.
There's nothing good about it.
Farmer Alan Surratt is talking about the drought.
We're hoping that this time it doesn't last that long.
Meteorologists at El Paso's National Weather Service say we all may be out of luck.
The drought is actually intensifying and spreading and increasing.
So in order to get water to flow through these irrigation ditches, I'm told he has to pump what's called groundwater. And he says there's a lot of problems with that. The biggest issue with the groundwater wells in Clint, they've got a lot of clay, making the water salty.
You start seeing white on the top of the ground and stuff like that, and your crops start producing a lot less.
The last time this salty groundwater was used was during the Dust Bowl nearly 60 years ago. and the crops were different then.
You know, in the 50s, it was mostly cotton in this area, and the damage was pretty significant.
Which makes Surratt wonder what will happen to his pecan crop.
Concerns I have are what's going to be the long-term effect on the trees. We don't know that at this point.
Plus, with Rio Grande still dry,
Elephant Butte Reservoir and Caballo reservoirs to our north are running around 5 to 10% of capacity.
residential water use could also be affected come the summer, though the El Paso Water Utilities Company says that hasn't been determined yet. Joshua Zuber, KFOX 14 News at 9. For most high school seniors, getting those college acceptance or rejection letters is stressful. That range of emotions for 18-year-old El Paso High senior Sarah Gonzalez was probably a little more intense.
It was the craziest day.
She got accepted into 7 of the nation's 8 elite Ivy League schools: Columbia, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Brown, Dartmouth, University of Pennsylvania. But Cornell, Gonzalez says, wasn't for her. All that news in less than 20 minutes.
My reaction, I wasn't like, Mom, I got into Harvard. It was, Mom, I'm going to Harvard, which I think that just kind of came out.
And that's where Gonzalez says she will attend this upcoming fall, matriculating from the marble staircases and pillars of El Paso High and Central, which is the city's oldest school at nearly a century old, to one of the most elite and the oldest college in the country in Massachusetts, Harvard.
Tears would not stop flowing.
Now standing a little more composed, ready to graduate, Gonzalez explains how she got into the nation's most elite school. She tells me it's not all about getting good grades, but putting in the time by helping your community. In her case, she did an independent study program.
I got to study the benefits of therapeutic horsemanship on children with Down syndrome, and then I held a fundraiser to have a scholarship for students with disabilities to be able to receive therapy.
Plus, she has a full ride to Harvard thanks to a scholarship. Even with all that, Gonzalez still thinks she'll miss home once in a while.
I know that the second I get sick, like I'm going to turn into a baby.
Joshua Zuber, KFOX 14 News at 9. Dozens of you shared, close to 100 commented, and hundreds of you liked this photograph on our Facebook page of a poor kitty cat reportedly stuck in this electric pole for about 4 days. Well, now that cat, Athena, is safe at home.
I was super excited.
Athena's parent is a 16-year-old girl from Las Cruces.
I guess she got chased by coyotes and ended up at the top, and she was too afraid to crawl down, and we couldn't really do anything to help her.
During that time in the pole over the weekend, Las Cruces had windy afternoons with stormy conditions, bringing some rain, and at night, the temperatures went below freezing.
I felt bad for her, and I figured she must be clawing on for her life because it was pretty stormy.
So it was a call to action for the Easton family. They called Doña Ana County to try to get the cat down. County workers tried to do just that, but they had to get the electric company involved and to shut off the power in that area, and they weren't able to do that until Monday for about 30 minutes. Only 2 customers were affected. The bucket truck you see here was provided by El Paso Electric. So what are you going to do with her tonight when you go home?
Hopefully cuddle her and try to get her looking back to a healthy cat.